I'm thinking about asking the difficult questions. And the quote, asking difficult questions requires powerful answers, which is so very valid more often than not. Asking those difficult questions of self and of other. I know for myself how many times I pause before asking a question of somebody, or perhaps causing a conflict, asking them a question that's going to question themselves, if that makes sense. Because there's a part of us that likes to be right, that likes to be on point. And if somebody else, another being, questions that, we go into resistance and conflict and kind of defense mode more often than not. So I'm here musing about asking the difficult questions. Is it okay to ask difficult questions of oneself and of others? And how delicately can one ask difficult questions of others? Because I know how difficult it is to ask difficult questions of myself. Therefore, if I'm inquiring into somebody else, it's because I like to inquire into me. And the resistance to the difficult questions, to me, is often the main cause of relationship breakdown. And the main cause of relationship breakdown, conflict, divorce, whatever it is usually because there's been a miscommunication. And the top theme of miscommunication is usually finance. So it could be a miscommunication around any theme, theme of life. But the top theme that tends to cause conflict in an intimate relationship, marriage or what have you, is usually finance. And usually that is a miscommunication around that subject. And if you think to how many people have recently broken up, if you've ever broken up with somebody, if you know someone's marriage who's failed, or if you know what's gone on, ask yourself, was there a miscommunication there? And was it around the subject of finance and money? And I think 90% of the time that is the equation. So to me, healthy intimate relationships is asking the difficult questions. Can you, as early as possible, ask those difficult questions with your playmate, essentially? You've gone, okay, let's come into connection. Are you willing to stand in the fire of the difficult questions with me? Because otherwise, this long-term love thing is going to be really challenging. If you have two people willing to stand in the difficult questions, you will have the chance and the opportunity there to resolve things, especially when it comes to difficult questions around money, finance, because everyone has a different upbringing to do with that, a different value system, different ideas based on it, different education system. So many things come into play. And if there's tiptoeing, or, oh, I better not say that, or, oh, I need to hide this bit of information, or, oh, I'm going to do that with money and not tell them, whatever it is, there's often a miscommunication and things get lost and difficult. And then if you find yourself not expressing how you're feeling to your partner, or not bringing the difficult questions, then this suppressed emotion, or the suppressed whatever it is, just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, until one party just thinks, I can't face this anymore, let's get out of here. And the only option is, I can do better on my own. Because whoever it is, or maybe you've tried to say the difficult question and you don't feel seen, heard, felt, understood, that this person is on a different page and they're talking about something completely different, or they're just they're not receiving you, and they just give their own opinion about money, or they believe they're right, or whatever it is that and you're talking over here and you're going, there's a miscommunication. What I'm saying isn't landing for this person. I'm not being seen, felt, heard. They don't get me. Therefore, there's a off. And if it goes off the rails and off the tracks for too long and too far, that's the end of the relationship, because both parties just think there is so far to get back to each other now. And often can be what happens. So I suppose my tag on to this is, how does one approach the subject of effective communication? And the practice that I'm keen on, that I use, is called Heart IQ. The founder is Christian Pankhurst. There's a lot here, but usually the key thing is to have those difficult conversations, bring your difficult question that requires a powerful answer when there is safe space, when there is regulation, when there is coherence, when there is space to be seen, felt and heard, is probably the most important thing for effective communication. If one person's in trigger or their energy is running stressed, they're not in capacity to see you, feel you, meet you, hear you, whatever it is. So it's sort of both parties' responsibility. If one is saying, but I'm always asking the difficult question and I want to talk about this, and this doesn't stick, and there's no willingness from the other person, it's kind of like, it is your responsibility to do it in such a way that it does land. Pick the right timing, or invite the right timing, because if this person is out of capacity, you're asking them to do the impossible. They cannot see you, feel you, receive you. They cannot. So if you're trying to ask the difficult questions and it's not landing for your partner, just be like, okay, it's not completely their fault, because this person over here can say, but I'm always bringing the difficult question. This person's not hearing it. Let's take blame off the table and just then go, okay, where is the space for this? Let's invite the proper space for this. And that would be eye contact, breathing together. Might just literally be a practice of sitting in silence as a first step, even before the question is brought, because as soon as one party is in trigger or out of capacity, there won't be any resolve. They're not in the space. So it's almost like, even to get to the difficult question, there's a certain amount of work that needs to be done in how do you track? How do you know when your nervous system is regulated? How do you know when you're out of capacity? How do you know when you're in trigger? Because it's sort of all of these ingredients that you need to know before you even are capable of standing in the fire of the difficult question. So I hope that's helpful, especially for people that know what it's like to have a disconnect, to have a miscommunication about these big subjects in relationship, and just go, how do one bring difficult meeting points, difficult questions that require powerful answers? How do we create space, a loving, heart-centered space, to be able to meet those difficult things? And that's the key, because we all know what the difficult questions are, and perhaps we ask it, but it's actually at the wrong timing, and then we're not seen and felt, and we think it's the other person's fault, and it's all and it's off and it misses. What ingredients do we need to get that sweet spot, that meeting point of, actually, I am heard now, I am felt now, and then it's like, Hopefully that's helpful, or perhaps that's what you needed to hear today. You'll be chai.